You and I here are no stranger to the word cancer. We have seen it all. We have seen people suffer, people courageously fight, but most importantly, we have seen people gracefully win over it. We have heard a lot of inspirational stories from cancer survivors. However, those who lose their life to cancer, their side of the story is often unheard. And one such story is the story of Prima Karmacharya. A lot of people present here in this room might have either heard or known about Prima, either through the presentation or might have personally known her. And I strongly believe that you were one of her well-wishers. However, sometimes when you are sick, get well soon and it's going to be all right simply does not work. So, on 9th August, while Prima was in the hospital, as Deepak sir already mentioned, was in the hospital, she decided to write about her experience of chemo and how it all started with her. She was waiting for her 9th chemotherapy session, which was supposed to be scheduled based on a blood test report, so obviously she was a bit nervous. Prima told us she wrote in her presentation that during her first 2 sessions of chemotherapy, she was weak, she felt that she could barely move, and even in the smallest action she did, she used to run out of breath. During her chemotherapy, she experienced very pain. She was not able to eat properly or anything she used to eat. She had the urge of throwing it up within 10 to 15 minutes of eating anything. Moving on, she had other serious side effects from chemo as well. She used to have severe headaches, which could only go by using balm. I guess you all know what balm is. And of course, her dear father's hand massage. Likewise, she used to have unbearable stomach aches. She had the urge to visit the restroom almost 15 times a day. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but then yes, that is what it was. And she had several diet restrictions. Imagine being a 13-year-old and you were not allowed to eat a burger. Just imagine how what she was going through. And then after that, after all of these, she knew she was doing chemotherapy, and she was not immune to one of the worst side effects of chemotherapy, and that was hair fall. It was really saddening for me to learn that she, being a normal girl, just like us, a little girl, she was only 13-year-old, and she was blaming her age for everything that was happening to her. As soon as she turned 13, she started having these series of unfortunate events. So she thought that, maybe 13 is an unlucky number, and then that's why all of these is happening to her. But yeah, from here, she stopped. She tells us that she had to take a lot of medications for not wanting to vomit, not wanting to go through the pain, but none of these worked. So from here, she just gave us a brief insight on what she had to go through when she was when she had cancer. Moving on next, all of these is already. From here, she also wanted to tell us that how all this started in the first place. So only over a month of turning 13, she had celebration at her home and everything was fine, everything was going all good. And then after a month, after a month of turning 13, her left knee started hurting really bad. So she thought that, I'm doing dance performances, I'm dancing, so it's maybe because of it, that's why my left knee is hurting. So she just casually shrugged it off. However, in 2 weeks of time, even though her left knee was hurting, she wanted to go to a camping that the school had organized. You know how the schools are. They promise campings for 3 years, 4 years, and then they do not take you. So she was really excited to go to the camping. So her parents could not deny for her not going to the camping program. However, the pain still continued. She returned from camping, and then she went to see doctors. And it's really surprising, but how doctors cannot diagnose cancer in the first place just at once. So she had a couple of x-rays and she went to see many doctors. They just told her that it's a muscle pain, so it will go away. They simply gave her painkillers, thinking that her pain would go away. However, that was not it. After that, after taking painkillers, she waited for about 2 months when her dad had gone out. And then her dad had gone to Nepal for the Majigao project, which we all know what it is. And then after he returning, her leg was still not fine. Her leg was still hurting. But the worst, she could barely walk. She was not able to walk and she was going through a lot of pain. So her dad decided to take her to the hospital. He took a month-long leave from the school so that he could have a proper checkup of his daughter. When they went to the hospital, the doctor carried out series of biopsy tests and CT scans, which definitely was tiresome, and then Prima was going through a lot already. But after a series of these tests and diagnosis, I'm sure her parents did find out what her problem was, but as mentioned earlier, they did not tell her what she was going through. And then after this, what happened is that she was taken to an emergency ward on April 10th. So she went to the doctor, they just told her that it's going to be fine, and they sent her home. But on April 11, one of the tragic moments for her parents, definitely, she had to suffer through seizure. She had a seizure attack, and then everybody was just doing their normal stuff in their home, but then as soon as she got a seizure attack, then they had to take her to the hospital. So from there and there, she stopped writing as to what happened to her, so I could not know a lot, because this presentation is handwritten by Prima when she was in the hospital, and then she stopped writing from there. But I do believe that she was in a lot of pain. She just wanted all of us to know what she was going through and how chemotherapy looks like and how much bothersome a disease can be. And after that, the thing is that, her parents did not tell her that she was having cancer. And just imagine that, your daughter is the one who is sick, and then you cannot even tell her what she's going through. So I know it was a tough time for everyone. I'm glad that they have finally recovered, and then they have this day over here. We are opening a foundation on her name. So with all of these, I've come to the end of presentation. The main purpose of this presentation was to tell a story that would help raise awareness about cancer, a story that would help people understand what chemotherapy looks like, what a person having a cancer goes through, and how often a small pain can often be a reason behind serious underlying cause. And on this very principle, Prima Foundation was established, and I'm really glad that you all gave your precious time and then attended this program, because we know how important it is to raise awareness about cancer, not only about bone cancer, but there are many other types of cancer which can be cured if you know what you are going through, if you know when to go and diagnose. So thank you so much for your time and coming here. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sanjana Timsina, and this was a story of Prima Karmacharya. Thank you.
Ma